Hey everybody, alright, so out here working on the Camaro some more. Started cleaning up the old grungy floor, frame rails, all that stuff. Plan is I'm going to paint it in two steps, just because of how I have access to the vehicle. So I'm going to clean it probably a little bit farther than where I am right now, which is right basically to those blocks. I don't know if you can see it on there, it's a little shy of the blocks, but pretty much in that area. I don't know how it's turning up on the camera. But that's kind of the plan, is to paint it from back here all the way up to there, and then put the differential and the springs under it. That way I've got wheels, tires on the back to hold the car up, and then I'll take the front subframe off and then support the front and get the front frame firewall cleaned up, and then paint that separately. I'm going to wind up with a little bit of a break in there, but it's going to be underneath the car, so I mean, it's not ideal, but it's going to be, you know, the way it's going to be. So yeah, just been working on that. I'm still waiting on parts on the differential. Got the caliper on this side, which I did another video on. I think when I get the parts I'll finish up that video, but got the caliper there, and I got the bracket for the eyelet spring, eyelet to body cleaned up. The other one's actually on the springs over there, and I got the mounting pads cleaned up, and of course the brake cable is connected. So I'm just waiting on this caliper. Hopefully it'll show up soon. I haven't gotten any feedback on it yet, so we'll see. But like I said, got that stuff done. So I'm going to get under here now and just see if I can clean a little bit more of this stuff off. It's pretty decent, so just hit a couple little spots where I couldn't get to it very well, maybe with a screwdriver and a little brake clean or something, just to kind of free up any little gunk that might be left. Definitely on these brackets here for the exhaust hangers, and I guess seat belts too, actually, now that I think about it. It's probably the seat belt bolts. But yeah, get those cleaned up so they're looking a little nicer, and kind of get this prepped. And hopefully in the next couple of days, like I said, get this back section painted, get the springs back under it, and as soon as I get that caliper, go ahead and put the axle back under it. Actually, I might even just put the axle back under it, even if I don't get the caliper. I can always take the wheel off, put the caliper back on, but it sure is nice to work on it on the bench, so we'll see. But anyways, let me work on this a little bit. Like I said, I'm just going to try to get these couple of brackets right here cleaned up a little better, and like I said, little bits and pieces that couldn't really get to very well, see if I can clean them up with the little wire brush or something, just a little bit better. It's pretty decent. I'm pretty happy with it, but if I can get a little bit better. So anyways, I'm just rambling on here. Let me get some work done, and I'll turn this thing back on. Thanks. Alright, so I got a little more cleaning done. I may do a little bit more, but I'm kind of thinking that's probably basically it. You know, I kept looking at that groove, and they struck me as odd. I think I finally figured out what it was. I had a 350 with the 671 supercharger on this car years ago, and I put a ladder bar suspension on it to try to help with the traction. And if I'm not mistaken, that's kind of about where those ladder bars were sitting. So I guess with the wheel hop, or not hop, but because it kind of cured that, but with launching the car and everything, I think the ladder bars were kind of beaten up into the floor there. So what I'm thinking is I'm going to go inside the car, get a hammer and see if I can kind of push those back into shape. And then of course I'll clean those little grooves out. And like I said, I may do a few other spots, like try to get that a little bit better up there, where the new floor and the old floor mat up. But I mean, that's probably basically it. Just clean that up, and like I said, get those things knocked back out, clean that area up, and I think that's going to be good enough. I got those pretty decent for the seat belts. I did start putting the bushings in. That's kind of what made me turn this thing on. I don't know how you guys do them, or but I thought this might be worth sharing, so just get a long bolt, stick it through there, and tighten it up, and it'll pull your bushing into place, because sometimes they're a little hard to stick in there. So just thought I'd share that with you guys. So yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and like I said, I'll bang those things out, try to get them somewhat into shape, and like I said, clean up those little grooves once they're no longer grooves, and we'll go from there. So I'll turn this back on in a while. Thanks. Alright, got those things hammered out, not looking too bad. I did find a split in the floor over here, as you can see right there. Just kind of ran a little bead along it on the inside just to close it up. So that should be okay. And like I said, did get this out, which is good. Happy about that. So that should be pretty decent. That's going to do it for today. Next time I get back out here though, I'm going to go ahead and wipe everything down with wax grease remover. That stuff I'm using, it is, which I'm sure I've said several times already, but it is it's like an epoxy based paint, undercarriage paint. So I'm going to go ahead and use that on here like I did on the differential and all that other stuff, the springs and that stuff. So. But like I said, next time I get back out here, I will go ahead and wipe everything down with some wax grease remover and spray that stuff on. Oh, and tape up my bushings and pull off those little rubber hangers and stuff like that. But yeah, get it ready and put some paint on it, and that way hopefully I can get the springs back under it and get the differential back under it. And then I want to roll it off the lift and spin it around, and then start working on getting the front subframe off and go from there. But I'm blabbing, so next time I'm out here, I'll turn this thing on. Thanks. Alright, so I went ahead and sprayed some paint on this thing yesterday, so it's been drying overnight. Didn't turn out too bad. Looks pretty decent. I just went up to, as you can see there, close to that coffee can. I figured that would be a good point to break it. And then I'll do the front half or whatever once I get the front subframe off and get this rear axle back under it and get some way to support at least the back of the car, because I don't have a way to support the whole entire car at once. I mean, I'm sure I can come up with something, but to be honest, it's easier to put the rear axle under it and have something secure and do it that way. So that's the plan. As you can see, I got the bushings in. I think I mentioned that already. Lighting's not very good, but like I said, it turned out pretty nice, so I'm happy with it. It'll be good. I just need to work on getting the springs back under here. Give this a little time to dry. And yeah, like I said, the lighting's not very good, sorry. But all in all, it turned out good. I'm happy with it. It'll work out fine. So I'm gonna go ahead and get the springs under here and get that I'm gonna probably redo the springs. I hadn't let them dry long enough. It's been a little cool here and took a little longer than I thought, and I touched them and left a few little fingerprints and smudges and things like that on them. So plan kind of is to get them in here, get them hung, and then just kind of touch them up a little bit. That way I can leave them hanging and let them dry for a few days. That way there's no question about it. Still waiting on caliper, so once that comes in I can go ahead and do that and get that underneath the car. But for right now, like I said, I'll just go ahead and get those springs kind of laying in there and get those reshot, and then once I get a little more work done, I'll turn this thing back on. Thanks. Alright, got those springs in there and actually just sprayed a little bit of the chassis guard, chassis shield, whatever the heck it's called, on them. Got that paper towel wedged in there. I can't get the spring to unload enough to get it out for right now, so I'm sure once I get the axle under it and get some weight on it, it'll come back, but for right now it's where it is. But yeah, it's done. So as soon as I get that caliper, I'll go ahead and continue getting the differential under here, and we'll go from there. So for right now, I'm just going to turn this thing off, and I'll see you guys when I'm back out here.